Welcome to the Bruce Williams channel. In this video, I would like to showcase a GPHG award winner. This is the Siga Design Blue Planet that won the Challenge Watch category from the GPHG in 2021. It's been on the market for a little under a year now, and it is a very curvaceous, interesting design that celebrates the circular form. So we have a completely circular grade 2 titanium lugless case that is, again, very curvaceous, and it works well with this dramatic dual curved sapphire crystal, under which you guys can see some index tracks and then this curved blue planet hour disc that is CNC machined, electroplated when it comes to the color transfer, very saturated, very sharp under the macro lens with realistic topography and an Indian Ocean centric design. Now it's interesting, whenever I look at a world timer or a watch that depicts the geography of the planet, we generally see the entirety of the planet, or we see the globe from the North Pole perspective. And this is different because only part of the world is represented here, with a focus in on the Indian Ocean. And then you'll notice Madagascar and Africa, India, Indonesia, Australia, Antarctica, surrounding the periphery of the Indian Ocean, and it ends up looking very sharp. Now let me explain how you read the time here. I think some people might write this off as being too complex, but it actually is very simple. You have a rotating hour disc here. This entire planet moves just like a normal hour hand does on a traditional watch, and you gauge the hour by looking at your navigation compass pointer. And in this picture, you guys can see it is between the 6 and the 7 o'clock position. And then to gauge the minutes, all you'll need to do is look at your moving minute track, your dynamic minute track. You guys can see the pointer is pointing at the 38, so the time would be 6:38 p.m. Again, it's very simple once you grasp the concept, and then you spend just a little bit of time with the watch. It took me about 2 days for my brain to make the switch and not look for a traditional hour hand and minute hand and center seconds hand, and it became second nature to gauge the time. It just takes a little bit of practice and it becomes pretty fun. Now I will say this watch does not represent good value in terms of specs or history or name cachet. In fact, I don't think this watch makes a good daily driver. It doesn't have the specifications. It doesn't have the ARC or the water resistance or the on-the-fly adjustability, but it does have something else, something intangible that I think is important in a watch collection after you've been collecting for a period of time. In the beginning, you want to search for watches that carry the value, carry the specs, carry the name cachet, carry the history, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. But once you build up your core collection, your base of watches that you rotate through to where you have versatility, you have everything you need for a good versatile conservative watch, that's when you start looking at the unique pieces, the conversation starters, the things that are really unlike anything else on the market, watches that you can wear occasionally in rotation as an accent watch or with a specific outfit or for a specific event or purpose. And using it sparingly actually makes the watch more enjoyable, and it's fun to wear in rotation next to a Rolex, next to a Moonswatch, next to a Sky Dweller, next to an IWC or a Seiko, and I think the Siga design falls into that category. Now let me say something else that I thought was kind of fun with my time with this watch, and that is the fact that my family actually really enjoyed this watch. I always show them personal purchases. I always show them watches that come in for review because I'm interested in gauging their opinion. What does a normal person think about this watch that I'm exceptionally excited about? And I found that oftentimes the usual suspects, the good daily drivers, they end up looking repetitive to my wife and to my daughters, and they're not necessarily as excited about those watches as something like this. So I actually got very excited when my wife said, "Ooh, that's really cool." And my daughter said, "How do I tell the time on this?" And I got to spend a minute and explain how this works, how it operates. And I didn't see the normal glazed over look in the eyes of my family members as I talk about one of my passions. I actually got to share a moment with my loved ones, and I thought that was really fun. So I'm not saying you need to purchase a watch for somebody else, for the fact that you might have a conversation, you might have a moment with them. But instances like that happen naturally, it's a very satisfying thing that I'm not necessarily used to having. So this one's been fun, and it's been cool to see that this appeals to the non-watch enthusiast, to whereas the watch enthusiast might think that this is just not worth the price. Now let's talk about the price here. This one retails at $1,099. You can buy this in stainless steel, and that one will retail at $899. I do have a discount code for 10% off either on Amazon or from the Siga Design website if you're interested in saving a little bit of money. But you are spending for a novelty. You're spending for an award winner. You're spending money on a watch that does not yet have history and does not have name brand recognition. But I think the brand is on the right track. Obviously, right? The GPHG deemed this worthy of the challenge watch category as a winner. So it's definitely on the right track. Now, overall, I like the uniqueness. I like the fact that there's nothing like this on the market. I like the fact that it's a conversation starter. I like the detail work. I like how this wears on wrist. This wears far smaller than the nominal dimensions would indicate. In fact, this is surprisingly wearable on wrist. My wrists are 7.25 inches in circumference, and I think it sings not on the included rubber strap, but on a polished Milanese mesh that I paired this with that really accentuates that blue planet curved disc. And I don't know, just makes it sing to a higher degree. Now let's talk about those negative elements and why this isn't the best value for money. I don't think we need to buy the best value for money every time we buy a new watch as watch enthusiasts, but this has a couple sticky points for me. One is the finish of the movement. It is very, a little bit lackluster, a little bit disappointing. And when I'm spending close to $1,000, I want good finishing, or I don't want to look at the movement, because this is proportionally pretty small in comparison to this very curvaceous, circular brushed grade 2 titanium case. And so I think if this was shielded with a very visually interesting display case back, it would be a stronger watch visually. And I think there is an opportunity to play with the theme of the watch, the blue planet. Maybe bring some color play into a case back, or maybe machine the globe, the opposite part of the world that is not depicted. Or maybe you go with your artwork that is found within your presentation booklet and you show what the sea level would look like if it changed by 6 meters. So there is opportunity to play with the theme of the watch and kind of hide this rather clunky execution of ETA-based architecture that is not produced by ETA. And lastly, it's the accuracy specs. This has an acceptable daily deviation rate of -15 to +30 seconds per day, which isn't a big deal when you consider the fact that there is no seconds hand. You don't know exactly how far this is deviating unless it's pretty far off. And over the course of 2 days, you notice you're 2 minutes off. That can be frustrating as a watch enthusiast. So I think Siga Design needs to tighten that up a little bit. It doesn't need to be an industry leader, but it shouldn't be Seiko-like or Orient-like in terms of accuracy in a watch that retails for around $1,000. But other than that, this has been a very enjoyable, very unique watch that is nothing's like this on the market. That's something I can appreciate as a watch enthusiast that has my bases covered, that has the daily drivers and a good mix of daily drivers. So this has been very fun, and I'm going to be a little bit sad to see this one go, because I always give away gift watches to the channel. So this will be given away in the month of October to a member of my Patreon group. If you're interested in entering the giveaway, I'm going to put a link in the description. Thank you for watching. Reach out with questions. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.